On a June evening in 1962, in Boston's Back Bay neighborhood, a young man named Uris Schlesers shows up at his mother's apartment.
Anna Schlesers is a 55-year-old divorcee. On this Sunday, as usual, her son swings by to pick her up for church. But he stays at the door for 45 minutes, knocking and waiting, and she doesn't come out.
She is someone who rarely misses church. She is also someone, though, that does suffer from bouts of depression. So Uris decides to finally knock the door down to go inside. Inside the house, Uris is met with a sight that no child ever wants to see of their parent.
His mom is lying there on the floor by the bathroom with the belt of her bathrobe wrapped around her neck. She's ice cold. He calls the cops and he says, "My mother hanged herself."
He assumed that she had committed suicide because she'd been struggling with depression, but police immediately felt like something was off.
There are fresh-baked muffins on the table. There's a kettle on the stove. This does not look like the scene of a suicide. Something else is going on.
Anna has been sexually assaulted, and the cord from the robe tied around her neck is tied in a bow. This is not the work of a suicide. This is a murder.
The crime scene yields no evidence. There are no fingerprints, and the neighbors didn't see or hear anything suspicious. More than 2 weeks go by without any advances in the case. But the killer is just getting started.
Boston is sweltering. Retired psychotherapist Nina Nichols needs to escape the heat from her apartment, so she decides to spend the afternoon shopping.
She comes back to her apartment at 5 p.m. and she starts getting ready to go to dinner at her sister's house. By 7:30 p.m., Nina still has not shown up to her sister's home for dinner. The sister begins wondering and goes to the apartment and starts knocking on the door, but gets no answer. So she gets a janitor from the building to open up the apartment with a master key.
The janitor is shocked at what he finds. Nina's in her bedroom, half on, half off the bed, with a nylon stocking wrapped around her neck.
Her apartment has been ransacked, but nothing valuable seems to have been taken. Nina Nichols' cash is still there. It doesn't look like this is a matter of a robbery. And there's no sign of forced entry. So either it's somebody that the victim knew or someone who talked her into letting him in.
Detectives note the similarities between this strangulation killing and the murder of Anna Schlesers. That same day, 15 miles north of Boston in the quiet suburb of Lynn, yet another older woman is brutally killed.
Police are called to the crime scene of Helen Blake, a divorcee who's also been strangled.
She, too, was found with a nylon tightly wrapped around her neck and tied in a bow. They also discovered that the apartment door wasn't damaged, again, indicating that there had been access to the apartment without force.
3 murders, 2 in one day, same MO for all of them.
Once you have a pattern like this, there's going to be an immense amount of pressure on the Boston Police Department. There's kind of a hysteria that's building up about this.
The media even goes one step further by dubbing the killer the Boston Strangler.
The police are at a total loss. They have no sign of connection between any of these victims. This is random crime that can happen at any time.
Now the public was concerned that they had a serial killer on their hands, and Boston police weren't moving fast enough to figure out who this man was.
Boston Police Commissioner Edmund McNamara is a veteran officer, but he's new in the top job.
McNamara has to take drastic action. The city is in a panic. On July 2nd, he takes the extraordinary action of assigning every single detective on the Boston Police Department to the Boston Strangler case.
In late November 1963, 23-year-old designer and Sunday school teacher Joanne Graff is found strangled to death in her home, just 30 miles north of Boston. A little more than a month later, the Strangler kills again in the heart of the city.
Mary Sullivan, 19-year-old, her first day living in Boston. She doesn't make it to day 2. She's found the day after she moved in, strangled to death. Like All the others, the same signature knot, the strangler's knot is around her neck, fashioned into a bow.
In between Mary Sullivan's toes is a New Year's card. As if the murderer is being cheeky with the police department, like, you can't catch me, Happy New Year.
2 weeks after Mary Sullivan's murder, Massachusetts Attorney General Edward Brooke takes over the case from Boston's floundering police chief.
It's difficult, it's not impossible to say just when and if strangulation cases will be solved.
Now we have the Attorney General inserting himself from a state level into a city jurisdiction to bring this situation to a close. He's an African-American Attorney General in a mostly Caucasian environment, that being Boston. But the bigger conversation was not just the AG coming in, but who he brought in with him.
Brooke assigns the case to his good friend from law school, Assistant U.S. Attorney John Bottomley.
Bottomley's first act is to collect all pieces of evidence, every police report, and he starts to collate them into a new machine. He's bringing computer science into policing for maybe the first time ever.
This allows everyone working on the Strangler case to share all the available information and evidence.
While Bottomley's doing that, Brooke sets about assembling a task force. It's experts in psychiatry, in forensics, in police work, and it's people from outside of Boston. And you can imagine how the Boston Police Department might have felt about that.
This is very unpopular among the police. To them, it really looks like a slap in the face. While we have this fight going on between the Special Task Force and the Boston PD, a smaller task force is looking into a rash of rapes in the Boston area in which the victims are not killed.
Victims report that a man came to their door dressed in green work clothes, claiming to be a handyman sent by the landlord.
In the most recent attack, a woman lets in a man who says he's there to fix a leaky pipe. He sexually assaults the woman and then flees. A few days later, this same man, apparently, knocks on the door of this apartment, but the woman refuses to let him in. He eventually storms off, but over the course of this, he is seen by about a half dozen different witnesses.
The man is quickly identified as 33-year-old Albert DeSalvo. Police arrest him and take him to the station for questioning.
He's first sent to Bridgewater State Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. The more the police look into him, the more it looks like he could be the killer.
He was viciously assaulted by his father multiple times. He claims he saw his father break his mother's fingers. He claims his father would frequently bring home prostitutes and have sex with them in front of him. This is a traumatized man, and to the psychiatrist, to the investigators, this could be a person who could mature into a serial killer.
In some ways, DeSalvo feels like a perfect fit to be the Boston Strangler. But what they can't figure out is why a serial killer would all of a sudden start leaving his victims alive.
Bottomley conducts a series of interviews with DeSalvo, who admits to hundreds of break-ins and sexual assaults, but denies killing anyone.
Nothing that he says and nothing that the detectives find actually links him conclusively to the Boston Strangler's crimes.
But curiously, while he is in custody, no other women are strangled.
I think there's a lot of people who can sleep better tonight, especially women.
The prosecutors know that they can close those cases and they could announce to the public, we took a bad man off the streets for life.
In the summer of 1966, DeSalvo confesses not only to the 11 known Boston Strangler murders, but also 2 more unsolved killings not previously linked to the Strangler. That of 80-year-old Mary Mullen in June of 1962, and 69-year-old Mary Brown in March of '63. In all, DeSalvo confesses to murdering 13 women.
Bottomley officially announces to the press that the Boston Strangler has finally been caught. And the city itself celebrates. The long nightmare is finally over.